Erik Jones has just become the most recent young driver to be booted out by Joe Gibbs Racing. That's right. He adds on to the list of Joey Logano. Let's see who else. Technically, Matt DiBenedetto, Daniel Suarez. Those are just a few I can think of. There might be more, but Joe Gibbs Racing with another trend of booting someone out and someone else coming in. This was a contract year, so it has been different from other situations, but Christopher Bell will drive the number 20 JGR Toyota in 2021, as expected. When we heard the news that Levine Family Racing was shutting down earlier this week, we all expected Christopher Bell to replace Erik Jones in the number 20 car just because of the way it's gone in the past with Joe Gibbs Racing, with the current situation of Erik Jones' contract being up this year. We just expected Bell to be in that car. He has a Toyota contract through 2022, I believe, so he had to drive a Toyota for the next 2 years. So I guess Bell is in that car for the next 2 years guaranteed, but we were 90% sure, unless something just fell apart, unless Bell went elsewhere or Jones just... We saw this coming. I don't know how else to say it, but we're going to talk about some of the trends that we have seen with Joe Gibbs Racing, booting out drivers for other drivers, and then also how Christopher Bell could do, and just the replacement, why it's happening, why it's significant, and why it's not that much of a surprise, and Erik Jones' potential landing spots in the future. So the first thing we're going to look at, some of the quotes from Joe Gibbs Racing, Erik Jones. The first thing is from Erik Jones himself. He posted out a picture with a little words on it. I greatly appreciate the opportunity JGR provided over the last 4 years, and I wish the team nothing but success and good fortune. JGR gave me a solid base from which to go out and compete at the highest level, and I look forward to building on that foundation in the years to come. So he's uncertain of his future right now. He doesn't know what's in store, obviously. We'll go into where he could land. So some potential landing spots. We know the 48's available after this year with Jimmy Johnson retiring. We know the 43 could potentially be open if Bubba Wallace decides to go elsewhere. The 42 of Chip Ganassi Racing is open. Those are just a few I can think of. A couple Stuart Haas cars are open. And that's really it. That's his options if he wants a competitive ride. The top competitive rides, I would say his best options right now, people are saying Jones to the 48. I could see that happening. But as for him being replaced by Bell, it's unfortunate to see. But it's at the same time, it's not very surprising. It's unfortunate, but it's not very surprising. We have seen Christopher Bell rise up through the ranks just like Jones did. But Bell... just great in the Xfinity Series, great in the Truck Series. We saw him in the Xfinity Series last year. He was a part of that big three. He had a few wins last year. And this year in the Cup Series, he had a rough start to the year, but he's come around and he's up. I think he's around the top 20 in points. I think he's just on the edge. And if he wins, he's in the playoffs. And that's an affiliate car of Joe Gibbs. They get some help from Joe Gibbs, but they are not technically a Joe Gibbs car. Erik Jones is in a Joe Gibbs car, and he's out of the playoffs too. He's, I think, 15 or so points out of the playoffs right now, 17th or 18th on the grid. So he has not been having a great year, and it's been like that mostly every year he's been at Joe Gibbs Racing. 2017 was his first year in the Cup Series. He was with Furniture Row Racing, an affiliate of Joe Gibbs Racing, that one year, the 1 year that they were a 2-car team. And then in 2018, he made the move to the 20-car. It's kind of ironic that... we saw in 2017, 2018, we saw Matt Kenseth get booted out of that car for Erik Jones, and now the same thing is happening to Jones. It's a little ironic, but anyways, in 2018, Erik Jones had one win at Daytona. Other than that, I think he had a quick playoff exit, round of 8 or round of 12 or round of 16, if I remember correctly. And then last year, he had one win at Darlington when he was on the playoff bubble and was knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. So he has not been that consistent. He has had some luck issues, I'll admit. There have been times where he's had fast cars, they've had a loose wheel, or they've had a penalty, or they've been involved in a wreck. They've had good cars and something goes wrong, but at the same time, the results just haven't been coming through. They haven't been like the other 3 Joe Gibbs cars. They haven't been running top 5, top 10 all the time, winning races. Now, living up to those 3 teammates is pretty tough when you got Martin Truex Jr., a Cup champion, Denny Hamlin, over 40 wins in his career, has 5 wins on the season. And Kyle Busch, a 2-time champion and maybe a top 10 driver of all time. That's pretty tough to follow up if they're your teammates. So I'm not going to say that Jones is a complete failure. He is definitely the 4th out of those 4 guys. So I'm sure that those 3 get a little bit more than him in their cars. But a little disappointing for him, I'm sure. As for the quote from Joe Gibbs Racing, or technically it's Toyota, Ed Laukus on Erik Jones not returning. Erik has been an incredible friend to Toyota throughout the last 8 years. We've become not only close not only to Erik, but to his entire family. We've celebrated together, we've cried together, and we've supported each other through it all. Unfortunately, the time has come that we have to part ways from a competitive standpoint. We know Erik will continue to do great things in the sport and wish him nothing but the best in his future endeavors. We will certainly continue to follow his career and will be there to congratulate him as he continues to succeed. And then as for Joe Gibbs, I haven't heard an official statement from Joe Gibbs. He might have said something. I might have missed it or something. But, yeah, not a surprise that Bell is stepping in just because, as I said, the inconsistency from Jones, I think that was one of the problems. You just look at Bell. Bell is in his rookie year. He's not having a great year. Like, Cole Custer's got to win. Tyler Reddick is doing a little bit better than him, in my opinion. But Bell is a very talented driver. You can't deny that. He's had tons of success in the lower series. So far this year, he's had a decent year. But it is a Joe Gibbs trend, guys. I'm telling you. Let's look back last year even. Matt DiBenedetto in that 95 car. Joe Gibbs affiliate car. After the Furniture Row deal fell through, Furniture Row gave up last year. They moved on to Levine Family Racing, and Matt DiBenedetto was in that car for 1 year. Around this time last year was when they announced that Matt DiBenedetto would not be coming back to that team. Matt DiBenedetto goes out, gets a runner-up finish at Bristol, and, he gets a ride in the future at Wood Brothers. So that's one. That's one that Joe Gibbs has booted out for another young driver, Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell, a very young driver, up and coming through the Xfinity Series, boots out another somewhat young driver who's had some experience in the Cup Series, Matt DiBenedetto, just like this year. And then a couple years ago, kind of a flip-flop situation. If you remember, Carl Edwards suddenly retired in 2016, and in 2017, Daniel Suarez was moved up from the Xfinity Series to replace him. Suarez, very similar to Jones, I would say. He didn't win, so Jones does have that he has won, but he was inconsistent. Suarez never made the playoffs. He just was not that great in that car, and then Furniture Row Racing shut down, and that car was given to Martin Truex Jr. So Suarez kind of got screwed there with everything that went down. It's kind of hard to turn down Martin Truex Jr. when you have the opportunity. So Suarez kind of got screwed there. But then we look at some other situations. We look at 2017, Matt Kenseth. It's not even like Matt Kenseth was doing terrible. 2015, 2016, he was very competitive. I think he made it to the round of 8 in both of those years. 2017, he didn't have a great year, but he made the playoffs. He won a race, the second to last race of the year. Gets booted out for young Erik Jones. A young guy comes in, boots out someone else. And then Joey Logano, that was another flip-flop kind of. Joey Logano, I don't know if he left on his own terms or if he was booted out, but Joey Logano left Joe Gibbs Racing, and he has gone on to do great things. Matt Kenseth was put in that car. But, yeah, we've seen a lot of things at Joe Gibbs. Furniture Row Racing shutting down, Levine Family Racing shutting down. Joe Gibbs said a lot happened to him and a lot to their affiliates. So Joe Gibbs Racing, man, they're like the Grim Reaper of NASCAR. You look at them, what they've done. That's a bold accusation. I don't think they've intentionally shut down Furniture Row. I don't think they intentionally shut down Levine Family Racing. But they have made some moves, and if you looked at that, you think, wow, that's wow. With the whole Furniture Row thing. If you remember, Furniture Row, super out of nowhere, they make that alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing. They're super competitive. They even win a championship beating Joe Gibbs Racing. Joe Gibbs Racing decides to bump up the price. Furniture Row Racing can't get the sponsorship money. They go out of business. Levine Family Racing, they were already on the edge as is. Then the coronavirus hit, and they went under, and they decided to sell the team. Joe Gibbs Racing affiliate, that's an expensive deal. Now, Joe Gibbs Racing is a top team, and I think they should make their price a little bit more if they're selling their parts to you. I think they should, but whew. And then as for the drivers, I feel like if you're at Joe Gibbs Racing, you're not winning, you're going to get booted out, but I guess that's how it should be. They're a competitive team. But yeah, my final thoughts are I think Christopher Bell does deserve an opportunity. Considering Jones is in a contract year, I think this is a good move. It's not like he was in the middle of his contract and they cut him or something, or they got rid of him for Bell. I think this was a good move for Joe Gibbs Racing to put Bell in that car. Jones just hasn't been showing the results to be in that car on a long-term deal. He is young, so I think he does have a lot of opportunity to improve in a different team. So I'm not going to go out there and call him a bust, say he's terrible. He is young. He still has plenty of opportunity out there no matter where he goes. As for where he might go, the 48 I would say is the favorite right now according to everyone. The 42 is another option, and then if it came down to it, maybe go to the 43. I don't know. Or if Stuart Haas gives him a call. Who knows? But it's unfortunate for Erik Jones, but it's a big opportunity for Christopher Bell, and I think he'll take advantage of it. Best of luck to Erik Jones. I hope he does land on his feet somewhere, a competitive ride. I hope he gets a second chance in a competitive car to start winning more races, to be a little bit more competitive than he has been. Maybe Joe Gibbs Racing just wasn't the right fit. I don't know. But, yeah, thanks for watching this. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked my opinion. If you disagree with anything, tell me in the comments. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like. If you want to subscribe, make sure to subscribe. It's just the beginning of the silly season, as they call it, but we will continue to give you the big news.